I'm going to call this meeting to order, the Mayor and Commissioners, for April the 12th, 2016 at 7 p.m. Please rise with me to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you bow your heads with me for a brief prayer, please? Father God, I come to you tonight on behalf of the town of Rising Sun. I ask that you continue to watch over our residents, those in need, and our armed forces that are serving overseas. Please continue to guide the town of Rising Sun, God, in a Christ-like way, and always remember that we can turn to you in our time of need. In Jesus' name, amen. We have approval of minutes from the March 31st meeting and the April 7th. You have two copies for March 31st. One is our regular town meeting minutes, and the other one is our special budget meeting. Can I get a motion to approve we'll do them one at a time, the March 31st town meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Passes. Thank you. Could I get a motion to approve the special budget meeting for March 31st?
So moved. So moved. No, sorry. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you. And could I get a motion to approve the special town budget meeting, which was our second budget meeting on April the 7th, 2016?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you. First. Excuse me, I always forget that. Commissioner Altenreith usually reminds me because I always forget it every time. Could I get the roll call, please?
Mayor Travis Marion,
Here.
Commissioner Joe Shepard,
Here.
Commissioner Dave Warnick,
Here.
Commissioner Alan Offenreith,
Here.
Commissioner Brian Lashir.
Here.
Let the record show that all of the elected body is in attendance.
Thank you, Town Administrator. Next on our presentation list is a consideration for ordinance, which is a revision of Chapter 9, Finance, Taxation, Business, and Trade. Town Administrator, do you have that report?
Okay, executive session report.
Oh, executive session. You're right. I skipped right over that. March 31st. Could I get a reporting of the executive session, Town Administrator?
Yes, the mayor and commissioners met in executive session on March 31st, 2016 at 9:43 p.m. on the third floor of Town Hall. A motion to hold an executive session was made by Commissioner Warnick, seconded by Commissioner Lashir. That vote was 4-0. All of the elected body was present and accounted for. The reason for the executive session as provided under the Maryland Open Meetings Act was to discuss personnel. The topics discussed at the meeting was general staffing issues. The persons other than the elected body in attendance was the town administrator and Chief Peterson from the police department. A motion was made by Commissioner Warnick, seconded by Commissioner Lashir to leave executive session. That motion passed 4-0. A motion was made by Commissioner Warnick, seconded by Commissioner Altenreith to adjourn the meeting. That motion passed 4-0, and the meeting was adjourned at 11:02 p.m.
Thank you, Town Administrator. Next on the agenda is business meetings, which is a consideration of ordinance 2016-03. Town Administrator, do you have that?
Yes, I do. This is the ordinance that was originally introduced on February 23rd. And this is an ordinance that, in recapping for everybody, the town of Rising Sun has a methodology in the way it has done the budget over the years, the timing of it, and it has evolved over the years to be a little bit more consistent with what the state guidelines are. However, we do not have anything in our ordinances similar to what other communities have in terms of exactly how the budget process will proceed in terms of timing, meetings, and the budget resolution that is adopted every year that sets rates and talks about discounts and all the, basically the meat and potatoes of the budget are typically done in a budget resolution. And the town started doing that about 3 years ago. But again, we don't have anything in our ordinances stipulating that. So that was the first effort with this ordinance, was to capture the way the town operates budget-wise. The other item in here was the town charter talks about fiscal policies and creating fiscal policies, and the town has done that, but we wanted to put language in the town ordinance about exactly what should be in those fiscal policies, instead of it being the way it is now, where back in 2009, the town put some criteria together. We wanted to make sure that it, again, was sort of consistent with what state standards were or what other communities are doing. The other thing that's in this ordinance is an investment and financing policy. This is something that the state will ask and request municipalities to do, but it's not something that you're obligated to do. But I think we all agree that as the business of the town has evolved over the years, we should start basically providing a playbook for future elected bodies on to get them thinking about investment policies and to make sure that the decisions that they are making are consistent with some procedures. And what do I mean by that? Over the last 10 years, we've talked repeatedly about plans and initiatives that were made, let's say back in 2003, were sort of abandoned by 2005, and issues and initiatives created in 2005 were abandoned years later. And we've talked about the amount of money that the town has spent in stopping over the years. Well, these types of documents help to make sure that there is continuity between one board and future boards, so that decisions that are made are consistent with some type of path or point A to point B to get to the end goal. So again, that's what this ordinance hopes to do. The other thing that we have in here is the charter talks about the town having the ability to create taxes and special assessments and service charges, but it doesn't really go into exactly what those various assessments and service charges are. So this ordinance again sets out to categorize what those items are, again to help build continuity from one board to the next. The other thing the town has, which is a big thing going forward, is the town has always had impact fees in its fee schedule. And impact fees are when a developer comes in to develop a piece of land, they have to pay a certain amount of money to basically buy in to the infrastructure that the residents in the community have been paying for years. And so basically what that comes down to is you don't want a developer coming in on the backs of all the money of residents, being able to develop their land, make a lot of money off the development of that land, and they don't have to pay their fair share. In other words, they waited for the existing taxpayers to pay for all that infrastructure, and then they don't have to contribute to it. Well, impact fees reverse that. And so it's rather obscure, but the town does have impact fees, and they raised them as recent as, I believe, 2009. And right now, our impact fees are roughly about $19,600, so that every new house or occupancy within reason is going to pay about $19,600, which is their contribution to infrastructure that residents have already paid for. So we have that in our fee schedule, but we never really talked about it in any ordinance to say that we can exactly do that. So we want to clean those types of things up. The other thing is, we've had a town fee schedule for years, and that's where you find out what it costs to rent the park space, what it costs to get building permits, what it costs to get land development applications. We've had this fee schedule, but we've never had an ordinance that clearly defines that we have an actual fee schedule and what should be in that fee schedule. So again, this is to help build continuity from one generation of elected officials to the next. The other item we have is, and this sort of goes hand in hand with the property maintenance code that we just recently adopted. And we all know that we have residents right now that are very astute and very aware of negative things that go on around them in other houses. We have some residents here tonight that have been struggling with other residents letting trash blow all over the place. And there are times when the town has to notify these individuals that they're in non-compliance, whether it be cutting grass, boarding up a vacant house, removing snow. And if you think about it, when the town goes in and does that, all that labor and overhead is borne by the existing taxpayers of the town of Rising Sun, and that's not fair. And so we have made sure, although we've had it in spirit, it's never been articulated that under Article 7, we have abatement of nuisances, emergency measures, costs for services and improvements. So we have a whole set of guidelines from A to Z of how we would go into or onto properties to clean up these nuisances, and then how we will reimburse the taxpayers. Remember, we're not reimbursing the town, we're really reimbursing the taxpayers for those types of expenses. The other thing that comes out of this document is every January you guys are asked, and past boards have been asked, to consider properties for tax sale. And these are properties that have not paid the real estate taxes, that owe sewer and water money. They might owe grass cutting abatement, snow removal abatement. Well, think about how under our current system, they're able to sit on those bills for 12 months. And it's not until we notify them, hey, we're going to take your property to the tax sale, that they pay for it. And I think Commissioner LaShire, summed it up really well the other night at a budget meeting when he said that when people are not, and I'm adding my words to it, but when people are not paying bills or their fair share back to the taxpayers, and again, this is the taxpayers that are absorbing these costs, when people do not pay their bills in a timely manner for no real good reason, they are financing their living lifestyle on the backs of taxpayers. In other words, they're carrying bills of $200, $300, $400, $500 for 12 months. Well, the taxpayers are absorbing that. And so this will start to talk about late penalty fees, which our charter has always said that we can assess late penalty fees for late payments, but the town's never done it. And as we go through the budget process, we're all recognizing that we have some trend lines of values and cost of living and expenses that are going in opposite directions and are leaving us with huge voids of shortfalls of revenue and money to continue to provide these services. So like any business, we need to make sure that we justifiably recover some of our expenses. And in this case, we'll be able to go after abandoned properties that get a bill for $1,200, and it's a bank that's sitting in Idaho that ignores that bill for $1,200 until 12 months later, and then they pay it with no penalty for having sat on it for 12 months. So again, late penalty fees are addressed in this ordinance now. The other thing is we really don't have any methodology of how we collect our bills. And we had a discussion about this the other day about, and again, it goes back to what Commissioner LaShire said, the amount of people who just, to some degree, are banking on the fact that right now the town doesn't really shut water off until about 60 to 75 days after the bill is late. And we have a lot of people who you can really see just stretch that out to the very last minute. And none of us here are immune to the idea that people have legitimate reasons at times why they can't pay their bill, and we have always been willing to enter into payment understandings with people, and we've been very successful with people that have really found themselves upside down in their bills to be able to get that straightened out and come out on the other side in a really good position. And that's because the town has been willing to participate with them and helping them get back on track. But we've got to make sure that we're not being taken advantage of that, in that matter. So this ordinance starts to talk about how we will go about collecting the money that's owed to the town of Rising Sun. And, you know, that has a big impact on the town. We have a lot of things that we need to be paying for in the future. And the town, like any business or any homeowner, oftentimes relies on financing to do that. And if you get your audit report every year and you have large amounts of money of non-receivables, which means every year you close the year with, you know, people owing you $50, $60, $70,000 of uncollected revenue and all, that hurts your standing. That hurts your ability to get competitive interest rates. So again, we're laying the groundwork to try to get, you know, to improve the business model of the town so that we're in a better position to provide the best services to our residents at the most economical cost, while still leaving as many opportunities as possible to be able to secure that money. I mean, that's generally it. It's basically the same summary that I had given to you guys at the meeting in February. The only difference is there was a lot of redundant language in this document. And one of the things that we did was basically what I like to call a placeholder of that redundant language that was a very, you know, it was maybe a couple hundred words in a paragraph that needed to be in this document, but it was in there about 5 or 6 times. We changed the document to have those other 5 sections referenced back to that original placeholder. So that basically makes the document a lot easier to read and less confusing. So with that, that concludes the
Thank you, Town Administrator.
analysis.
Is this being considered for adoption tonight, or are we holding and then waiting?
You're within, the ordinance stipulates that an ordinance can sit for up to 60 days. In other words, you introduced it on the 23rd. You're still in the 60-day window. So if the board chooses to want to adopt this tonight, they can adopt it.
It's the board's pleasure. Would you prefer to do?
I move that we adopt ordinance 2016-03.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
There's just, Calvin, one correction. I'm sure you'd catch it at the end, but it says the 25th day of February for the legally sufficient. Just need to update that to whenever Jay signs.
No, actually,
Oh.
we don't, because that's the day he gave me the green
Got it,
light on
got
the
it. Okay.
document.
Okay, never mind.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Ordinance passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Town Administrator. Thank you, Sergeant Circus. Would anyone like to speak this evening?
Sign-in list.
All right.
I would like to say, excuse me, Sarge did a good job this afternoon.
Great job.
What'd you do?
You helped me out.
Is this something we want to discuss in a public meeting?
There we go.
No,
Not like that this morning.
All right. Thank you.
Issue
No.
about the trash.
yeah, we had a property maintenance issue, and the Sarge went down there and took care of it. for
The
us.
Sarge? Is that what we're calling you? No. Thank you.
Sarge.
Town Administrator, do you have a report this evening?
No, other than we're making a lot of headway with the Chester Water discussions. The budget, as you know, is in full mode right now. We've gotten a lot of good information at our budget meetings, and we're hoping to incorporate all that language into the next draft of the budget.
All right. I'm assuming we don't have historical preservation in Rising Sun Arts Alliance, so we'll skip to any old business.
The Arts Alliance, you'll talk about the event.
Well, I figured you and Commissioner Warnick would talk underneath the
Okay.
It's up to you under your reports.
That's something to do in comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to go with your comments for the Rise Sun Arts Alliance, you can.
I can wait.
Okay, okay. Do we have any old business tonight?
Old business, yes, Mr. Mayor. You requested a while back before we canceled a few meetings to take a look at the Everbridge service.
Yes.
And Everbridge, I took a look at them, and I also took a Nixle, which we use. We use the Nixle free service, which is actually an Everbridge company now. Basically, if everybody remembers, during the winter storm we had, we used Nixle to some extent for the paging. Of course, that only goes out to text messages to people with cell phones that have registered, and we also use Facebook a lot. Of course, we all know not everybody has access to the internet or they like the town Facebook page. Really, the only real way to get out emergency messaging or something like that to the community is a voice message to a telephone. Whether that is like the Nixle service for the paid version, the 360, one of the things you can do is you can pre-record a voice message or just use a text-to-speech that actually will go out the landline, cell phones, and everything, so you can get a message. And more or less all these services, like with Nixle currently, we have almost 700 registrants, 700 people that have come and actually logged in and registered to be part of the service. So when people register with the service, and they also, if they go online and do it and they put in their addresses, you also have the ability to target areas. So
Yeah,
you can.
About two meetings ago, I asked Commissioner Lashir to look into this, and I think it's great that he came back and basically looked at something that I didn't think of, which was we can incorporate a system like this, from my understanding from you, and be able to keep the amount of people that we already have from our existing Nixle, people that we have that have already signed up for text messages. We have a significant amount of population in the town of Rising Sun that are elderly residents, and we are not as small as, say, Chesapeake City, so we can't call every single resident here to let them know if their water is going to be shut off, or if we have movies in the park or other events like that going on. Even Arts Alliance things, we could do something like that where we could call and say that there's an event coming on. So I think that this would be a great program to sign the town up for and to move forward with. Did you get any more further feedback on pricing for something like that, how it would?
Yeah, the Nixle 360, which is unlimited text messages, email, voice messages, they do web messages. You can have unlimited administrators and unlimited users administrating the system. They generally ask for a 3-year contract at $4,000 a year.
Okay.
And then there's no other fees. Everything's unlimited usage.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about this alert system and what we're trying to possibly gain by having something like this? And would anybody be willing to entertain a motion to move forward with moving forward with the Nixle 360 system?
Well, is that what we're already using?
We're using the Nixle free version for governments, and it just provides the SMS and text messages.
So we would upgrade to a different level?
To a different
service,
platform, yes,
But with the same company?
with the same company.
But you say they own what was it, Everbridge?
Everbridge owns them.
Or they own Everbridge, so
Yeah.
the same company?
I mean, I think the
It
biggest thing is
reaches-
to make sure that we put it in the budget if we're going to do it.
It
Yeah, just
reaches
say-
more people, is that what it will do?
Yeah, well, the big thing is with any of these services, because I do some of this at work, I mean, you want to give residents the opportunity to register, to opt in and opt out, because you don't want us getting involved trying to manage any kind of list. So like with Nixle, people can either text or they can actually go online. Like if they go online for the Nixle 360 service and put in their address, then you've got the ability, like as part of the town, that we can pull up a map. And when we've got to do notices for a Board of Appeals, or you can actually target streets, and messages will go out to everybody that lives on that street that registered, or you could do the whole town. You can actually, like one of the problems we have with Nixle, which I don't know, we've got 700, almost 700 people that have registered, but I guarantee a lot of those people don't live in town. You know, there's people in Conowingo and they just want our messages. So when we push something out, you know, we talk about a street closure, or, you know, it's an emergency snow situation where you can't drive on the streets, doesn't really apply to everybody. It just applies to the town.
What are we paying now?
It's free.
We're not paying anything
We're
now?
not paying anything now.
I think the biggest thing is that it'll also be able to say you and your wife decided that you didn't want to do the text messaging system and you just wanted a message on your home phone, you would be able to come home on a Friday and be able to get a message saying, hey, potentially your water is going to be shut off on a Monday, or hey, we have movies in the park this Saturday, or something like that, so that you will be
Currently, you
able to
only
know.
use it for, like, emergency stuff, right? Like,
Correct.
I know a lot of times I see them, it's just the police department messages about something that's going on, street shut down or
Right.
things like that.
It's like, I'm not sure what Cecil County Public Schools uses, but they use a system like this.
Very
Whereas I
similar.
don't know if anybody has kids, it works great because you get messages from them all the time. You know, whether something, an emergency happens, whether
Kelly
it's a
Keaton is
school
calling you.
closure, you know, Mr. Lashir, your daughter Sophie wasn't in school today, you know, that type thing. The messages come all the time, and it's just basically, you know, it's set up, their system's set up, it comes to my cell phone for me, and, you know, they leave a voice message, but with this, you can actually hit people's landlines, and they'll hear a recording, or it'll just leave them a message on their, if they still have an answer machine or a voicemail.
Does the price vary based on the number of people that sign up?
No, it's all unlimited.
So, I know we hear a lot of flack sometimes about people not being notified, but it's kind of on the residents to sign up so they can get notified. It's not up to us to go out and track down every resident, make sure they're registered so they get a
Right.
notification.
Well, we do something like this, we have
Promote
to
it.
talk about it, promote it, put it on Facebook, I'm sure.
Send it out on their water bills or something.
Yep, send it out with the water bills.
Yeah, because everybody gets in.
Calvin, do we have to do something, I mean, obviously, if we want to put something like this in the budget, do we have to do something that we decide to move forward with it, like a motion to move forward with it, or do we just put it in the budget?
I'm taking the cue that you want it in the budget.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
do we
If you
need-
said you didn't, I would more or less expect the board to make a definitive decision not to do it. I'm
Okay.
taking it that you're interested in at least
will
seeing
we
how
need
it looks in the
to-
budget.
Will we need to vote on it?
You would adopt it as part of the budget.
Can we do that at Thursday's meeting if maybe we need, because we're going to be having a budget meeting Thursday night. Is it something we want to move forward with tonight or Thursday?
The way the
gonna-
budget
it's just
works
gonna be
is
part of the
You
discussion.
just put it as part of the budget, and you vote on the budget as a package, and then the town's authorized to spend whatever's in the budget, because we vote on the budget.
Okay, so what are we going to do?
I would
Go ahead
say
and put it as a
I would
placeholder?
just put it in the budget.
Put in the budget.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? Okay. All right, thank you, Commissioner Lashir, for your hard work looking into this program. Like I said, I think it's going to open the doors for a lot of our residents who are, you know, not on Facebook or don't have cell phones or whatever. So I think that's great. Any new business tonight? Hearing none, I'm going to move into the mayor's report. My report is going to be brief. I did have a great meeting with the let me make sure I get this name right, the Northeastern Cecil and Harford County Kennel Clubs. I went and spoke to them about Triangle Park. I did ask Commissioner Warnick. He was not able to come, but I was able to talk with them, and they are very excited about getting involved in Triangle Park. They want to host a dog agility day. They want to potentially host an adoption day for dogs, but they were just very excited. They had no idea that Triangle Park was there, and they are excited to get involved with the town and Triangle Park. I also went to the Cecil County Young Life 5th Quarter Party. I want to say a big thank you to Sergeant Circus and to Officer Herbert and Officer McKinney for also showing up to support the kids. The kids had an opportunity to play a water war game where they threw a glass of water in my face. That was ice cold. There is a video out there, so I'm sure they'll post it somewhere. I know I ended up on a lot of the kids' Snapchats because I was there. So, but it was just a great event. I thought it was a great program, and I'm excited to see Sergeant Circus and RSPD get more involved down there. So that'll be great. I'm still working on Mayor for a Day. I'm still getting ready to visit some of the schools there. And that's about it for the mayor's report. Moving forward to Commissioner comments, Commissioner Alton-Reed,
I have nothing this week either.
Commissioner Lashir.
The only thing I have to talk about is this past Saturday, the Rising Sun Arts Alliance had a art show for the middle school students. You see a lot of the artwork still up. They actually were able to raised money to give out some cash awards. Everybody got a certificate. There was probably at least 70 people that came through at different times. Parents, their family, the grandparents. It was good to see everybody. And this is just something that a lot of the students, I mean, they're used to having the art hanging in the school walls, which is normal. We've all been through that. But, it's rare that they actually get to have their art stuck someplace other than at school for them to go to. So it was pretty neat.
And I have to commend Commissioner Lucier and Commissioner Warnick for all their work with the Arts Council. They do a great job with the Arts Alliance, excuse me, I said council again, with the Arts Alliance. And I said this on Saturday, we will be watching these kids. They definitely have some talent and a vision and eye. So it'll be exciting to see what else they come up with. And we're excited to have them come back and display artwork again. So a great job to you and Commissioner Warnick. Commissioner Lucier, do you have anything else?
No, that's it, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Commissioner Shepard,
I don't have anything for tonight.
Commissioner Warnick.
Just the Project Stream cleanup was postponed from April 9th to May 7th due to the weather. We figured since we were in the wetlands, we decided the day before, given the combination of precipitation and possible blizzard conditions, which didn't pan out, but even just the rain and snow, we didn't want to have everybody trekking up and down the hill into the wetlands and making it muddy, because it would tear up the plants we don't want to damage. And as we're removing the stuff we do want to get rid of. So, and then this weekend, Saturday, I believe it's Saturday morning, is the Tiger Trot at the middle school. And I will actually, as requested by Mr. Boyd, get that shared on the town's Facebook page tonight.
I think that's next weekend, the 23rd.
Yeah, it's a Little
Okay.
League parade.
This
That's
weekend's
this
Little
weekend.
League parade.
Yes.
Next weekend's
Yes.
okay.
Don't forget
Sorry.
the Rising Sun Little League parade. It's this Saturday. Please come out. It's
Thank
going to
you.
be a great time.
One more thing, and I almost always forget this, and seeing Pauline here may remind, Calvin, are we gonna do a planning board meeting this month, which would normally have fell on the 18th? Are we gonna have anything for that night? I know with the budget meeting and everything and all these meetings we're having for that, we don't have any cases for the planning board, do we? And-
No, the only thing I was going to suggest is that we could potentially have the engineer come out with the new planning consultants, get introduced to them, and they have some new insights into some more modern views of land development codes.
It's at KCI.
Yeah, and so if you recall, the board authorized KCI to work on redoing our land development code. So we could either do it this month, or I could try to set it up for the following month for them to
Well, I
come
know
out.
two of our members, and don't forget former Mayor Tom Mummy, whose health has been down, but we haven't seen him in a while. We wish him the best. I know Joanne Osborne with her business and tax season's been very busy. We didn't have a meeting last month because of construction up here and everything, so for those, I know Mr. Goebel likes to know when we're having meetings and attend to get up to speed, so let's push something out and see whether or not we can get them
Okay.
to come in, and with all the other meetings we're having, if we can squeeze it in. We got a long list still to go with budget stuff.
Okay.
And I think if we do go forward, I'm showing it would be on the 18th of this month, which is next Monday.
Mhm.
So stay tuned, I guess.
All right. Go ahead.
Taxes are due Friday. That's it.
I also wanted to say, Town Administrator Bonneberger, if we could potentially, I know that there are a few activities coming up. If we could see if the Activities Committee could get together sometime this month, maybe we could send an email out to them about some activities that are going on this summer. I know a few people want to come out to that. That would be great if we could send an email out to maybe get them together.
Okay.
And that concludes this meeting. I did want to say I thought this was really cool. I saw this on social media. A few of the commissioners have shared this. Onlyinyourstate.com. 15 small towns in Maryland where everyone knows your name. Number 8 is Rising Sun. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it shows that we're moving in a positive direction to get on a list like that. So that's great. Do we have any more business coming before the board this evening? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.